Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, the founder and CEO of Tier 11, alongside my awesome co-host in the flesh, Lauren E. Petrullo.
The founder of Mongoose Media.
That's right. I stole your line.
Wow.
Anyway, we're here sitting in actual person with each other, and she just gave me a wet willy, so, which is actually kind of gross. So, but we're here alongside Ian Garlic in Ian's studio. If you don't know who he is, I don't know what you've been doing with your life, because you should know who he is. He's the CEO and founder of Video Case Story. He's also got a podcast. Had him here on the show many, many times. He is the leading authority on all things video. Period, full stop, as Qasim always used to say. However, if you say that to Siri, like, they don't know what to do with that, period, full stop, by the way, so don't do that on any sort of dictation device. Today we're going to talk about how to use video to sell the right way. We've talked about video many times. You do a lot of video, we do video, we're on video right now, but how do you actually use it to transport someone from not knowing who you are, very, very top of funnel, ultimately to buying your stuff? And as we've discussed many times with attribution tools, obviously Tier 11 data suite, like all the tools that are out there, most of this stuff never even has a click. So it's like, it's really hard for a lot of businesses to say, is my video actually working? And so Ian here is here to tell you exactly how to gauge that. So welcome back to Perpetual Traffic.
Thank you. Thanks for visiting me here in Garlic Studios.
Yeah, it's tremendous to be here.
It's tremendous.
Very cool setup. I'm very jealous. By the way, I need your advice on how to set up my own studio back in Brooklyn.
I can do that.
Yeah, all right.
I'll fly up.
Very cool. We'll do that. All right, so how do you actually sell using video? Like, what's the right way of doing it? A lot of people just say, hey, if I'm just doing a ton of video, I multiply my content, I syndicate it, I put it on all the platforms, that's all I need to do.
You know, here, Lauren and I were talking about this yesterday, and you've got to play the right game. You got to decide what game you're playing. Yeah. And, you know, you can't play the game of sales and of big metrics at first, right? I mean, I think we talked about it before, like Gary Vee, when he was getting all of his numbers, that wasn't the sales piece of their business. There were two completely different pieces of his business. And what's interesting is in one of the groups I'm coaching in, a guy came in and he's like, who's Gary Vee? Right? And he's in marketing. He's been in marketing, sold a company 5 years ago, still didn't know who Gary Vee was.
Yeah.
The point being is you have to think about just owning the point. We talked about the green zone on the previous episode. Owning where from the time someone says, hey, I need a solution to this problem, and really is looking for a provider, through them signing up with you, and like what Joey Coleman talked about, the first 100 days. You need to sell to your clients after they become your client. And that's what a lot of people stop doing, because they think they get to marketing, and marketing stops and sales starts, and then sales stops and onboarding starts. I'm like, no, you need to be selling the whole way along. Yeah. And I think this, we talked about the other episode about AI. I think this is where AI is going to merge marketing and sales really, really well, if you do it right. But you have to concentrate on what are the big questions, right? Do you understand my problem? Do you really understand my problem? Lauren was talking about it before, like, hey, I want to see things this way, and you think I want to see it this way. Do you really understand me? Do you really understand, have you helped someone like me? We all think we're special, and
hey,
you are special.
Thank you.
But we that's where video case stories come in, not to promote them.
Special in air quotes.
How dare you?
How dare you?
You are, yes, you're special in all the ways.
This is special in all ways.
Yes.
You are my amazing co-host, which is
amazing
at the start of every show.
Much better co-host than that other guy.
That other guy, yeah.
Well, look, we're apparently good together.
Wow. We have contrasting apparel here today.
Ralph Lauren, the polos.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
We're apparently.
See, AI could not generate that joke.
No, that's almost dead. That's like mom humor.
Right, yeah, there. Mom humor.
Yeah.
Do you have mom jeans on?
How What's happening? Why are
I
you coming
know.
at me?
Wow, everyone's going after
I
Laura. all
know.
of a sudden.
You're like, why are you dressed down like this? It looks like you walked off of a cruise ship.
I did say that.
Calling my pants mom pants.
So selling.
So selling, how do you sell?
And this is where you recreate as much as possible every part of the buying process on video. And you describe your process. You describe the client stories, multiple versions of the client stories. You need to answer all their questions. You know, we talk about the 3 types of questions that you need to have, FAQs. There's questions that they're asking you. There's questions they're thinking. Mm-hmm. And then there's questions they should be asking. Mm. And, you know, like the price objection. One of the things we do, and I'll give this away, this is a secret that I've never given away anywhere, not even on my podcast.
Wow.
Give me.
Exclusive here, Perpetual Traffic.
So, one of the things we've installed into our high-end clients, and I don't like the word high ticket because it really, that's what separates marketing and sales. Like, well, it's high ticket, you bought the ticket, now it's done, right? And you can't think that way. Mm-hmm. But with our high-end clients that charge a lot, we go, the third email is, why am I so expensive? And we make a video explaining why am I so expensive. That gets opened, but everyone's asking it, and you get that price objection, and you explain, like, this is the difference. And if you don't want to pay that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But people so often go, I get it, because they'll open it up, and you got to think about those, and it gives you a chance because sales meetings, right? You come in and people are like, blah. The salesperson's like everything, and your prospect's hearing one thing, right? Whatever their question is. Your video allows them to experience everything else asynchronously when they're ready for it, and they can poke around, and when they start to understand things, they start to get it. And I use video all the time and reiterate and send the video over and over and over and over again. Like, this is what the green zone is. This is why you have to focus here. No, we don't have to, like, this is very meta, but meta, not the software, but the platform. But I have to explain to people, like, we don't want to look at those numbers. You're gonna have an invisible pipeline. You know, I know you want to have the metrics. What's gonna happen is people are just gonna walk through the door and go, ready to buy from you. And I hear this more and more. More I'm hearing, I saw you on TV. Mm-hmm. And none of my clients, I have 1 or 2 clients that have spent money on TV. It's all YouTube.
Well, YouTube TV.
YouTube TV.
It's on the remote.
Or they see it on video, and they just, like, even if they're watching YouTube on their phone or wherever,
on their smart TV.
On their smart TV, yeah. On their device, they equate YouTube to TV. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But they'll watch if you have the right suite of videos. Now, the second part of that is you have to also, this is the opportunity that I think so few people really, really understand, what I call feeding the monster, right? YouTube, other platforms reward you for sending traffic, but YouTube has all the Google's data. So when you send someone who has a specific problem to a specific video, YouTube knows exactly everyone else that has that problem, because before they know they have that problem, right? Remember when Target was like, got in trouble for sending out coupons for people being pregnant? Yeah. YouTube's a little more powerful algorithm than Target. Mm-hmm. So that's where you can, not only do you feed YouTube and say, this is who I want, but now YouTube is gonna follow the rest of suggest other videos if you have the right videos. Mm-hmm. So you have to have all of the
They'll
sales.
Create your natural funnel for you.
For you.
In essence, is what
Yeah.
you're saying here, right?
Yeah, create the invisible pipeline for you.
And it's individual for everyone.
It is individual, but they know kind of what they're going to look at next, right? I mean, I start looking at ukulele videos, all of a sudden it's like ukulele stuff. Right. And then it's like, oh, ukulele plus cooking. Oh, ukulele plus marketing. Oh, that's perfect for Ryan, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how you do it now. The interesting part is, like, what I call the core 4 converting videos: your video case stories, your about us, your process, and your FAQs. They're all still sales videos. And this is where people are like, oh, let me tell you about my process. I'm like, your process is actually a hidden offer video. It's like, because you have the story, and then you have the offer, right? If you treat the process like an offer video, and your about us is you going, this is your positioning video. It's like, this is why I'm the best, but it's in the disguise of the about us. And then it's like, how's this gonna work? That's your offer video. And then they know what the next steps are, right? And it future paces people. So those are the videos. You not only have that pipeline, you have a whole onboarding thing. And that's where I tell people, they're like, I don't want to send people to YouTube because they're gonna go look at other things. I'm like, no one is going to your website and just closes out every browser tab and looks at your website. Like, oh, there's no other websites besides this. I have attorneys tell me this all. I don't want them to see my competition. I'm like, do you think they're spending like 3 hours on your website? No one wants to spend any time on a website.
Right.
They're gonna go back to YouTube. Might as well feed them YouTube and have the right videos. Now, I do think also, one of the things we're starting to do too is if it's not your video case stories are a converting channel, Iron Garlic is kind of like my experimental content channel, because when someone's ready to buy from us, I want to send them over there, but I want them to be able to really quickly go through that journey and not get distracted by it. Because I've noticed when there's too many podcast episodes on the same thing, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
And it's me talking to clients and going, I wish I can go, hey, here is the thing, but after 20 years of doing this, there's still very low attribution. The one thing I do, this is the magic attribution question. When someone comes through, did you see any of our videos? That's what I tell them to ask. Because then it starts a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But a lot of times there's not attribution. The other thing I do, and I've done that,
or an approach purchase
yeah,
survey. If you're a virtual business, in your case, it's service based, so you're going to be talking to them. In
a survey, yeah. This is where one of the other types of videos I used to call video blog posts, but it's really your big idea videos. When you start to own ideas, like video case stories, an idea, or the green zone's an idea, or with your software. When you start to see people come through and talk your language, the video's working.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
The best videos, maybe this is a question to you, but it's the ones where they get on we obviously sell services. We sell services through a phone call or a discovery call, but it's the ones where I already know who you guys are, just I'm ready.
Yep.
How do you get to that point? It's you can't have enough of those.
No.
Granted, you have done something somewhere along the way, and I think of one particular discovery call that I was on maybe 2 weeks ago. He has no idea really where, was it podcast, was it videos, was it our YouTube lives, was it our Instagram? He's like, I just know you guys, I've consumed all your content. Mm-hmm. And if we actually tracked him back, there was 0 clicks. His only click on our website was fill in the form.
I'm surprised you did that and just didn't call. I'm like, I want to work with that person. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. And probably a high-end customer too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we talked about in the last episode, those big clients, they're lurkers because they don't want to be opted in. They don't want to go through a funnel unless they're hacking your funnel. Right? They know how all this stuff works because they got to that point because they were good salespeople. And they don't want to be quote unquote sold. They just want to be there when they're ready.
Right.
And that's where we have to focus on with our videos. It's so marketing 101, but we have to speak to that person. But unfortunately, that person has such a specific range of content that they want to see that it's not going to get your 20, 30, 40,000 views. Mm-hmm. And when you have that influencer strategy of, well, this is what's trending, right? That's going to give you the wrong content instead of speaking directly to that person. Because not only
it won't do anything to attract your ICP either.
No.
The old expression, I'd rather have a video with 1,000 views and 100 leads versus a video with 1 million views and 1 lead. People get so focused on the view number, and when I send people to our channel, some of your videos only get a couple hundred views. I'm like, well, the right people are watching them.
Yeah.
That's what I care about.
I had a client who had 2 6-figure clients from a video that had 50 views. Because it was such a specific, I can't talk about it, but it's such a specific problem that if someone's looking that up, it's $1 million problem.
Okay.
And yeah.
So I guess that takes us back to, and I hate to say like the basics of marketing, is doing your research on your ICP, and then that feeds what videos you're actually going to produce, so that most of the calls to action on our videos and the ones that we recommend for like when we do social for clients is not necessarily, opt in now or call us. It's subscribe to our channel, watch more videos like this.
Watch this video.
Watch more.
Yeah. Or if you want to know how this works, watch this. That's what we're doing more of. It's like, feed it down the pipeline. What's the logical next step?
Right.
In what would be the next step in the process? Like we do like goals, your discovery call, we name it, and then like, hey, this is how much money you're losing by not having video case stories. Do you want to figure out which are your best video case stories? Oh, and then hey, if you want to work with us, here's exactly how to work with us, right? Down that process. And I think that's where you need to start thinking about YouTube and videos like that, is moving them down a video funnel more so than the opt-in.
So you talked about the core 4, and you also talked about the green zone. Let's further define both of those. I don't know which one you want to talk about first, but the green zone is obviously something that it's
So, the
yours.
green zone.
The green zone.
The green zone. You know about the green zone, don't you?
With the green zone.
Maybe?
Why are we looking at her?
Oh.
But bum.
So the green zone is where money's made, right? And so often people are like, hey, I want to go out and sell my thing to everyone because everyone's ready to buy my thing, right? But then if you're solving some sort of problem, isn't it easier to figure out the person that's looking for that solution to that problem and sell to that person? And it's even easier that someone's looking for help with that specific problem. And even in that moment, like the other day, I had a bit of a mishap with an RV that we talked about. In that moment, I had about 1,000 different questions running through my mind, right? And
until you're...
Yeah, until my this is a story that maybe one day will come out, but I had a random friend that just pop out of the woods and help me.
A helper. Right.
A helper.
A helper from the woods.
Always look for helpers, Mr. Rogers said.
That's right.
Did he?
He did.
He did.
He did say that.
Yeah.
He went to my school. He went to Rollins.
He was tatted up.
The things we don't know. Yeah.
But
Michelle Obama went to my school, so no big deal.
yeah,
Really?
no big deal. Yeah.
Nobody went to my school. Anyway, the green zone.
The green zone, it's where people are ready to buy, and also we forget, like we need to keep marketing and selling to people. Like, for example, proposals or contact us page. How many people have an optimized contact us page with like a case story on it? Explain what the process is going to be when you enter.
I don't.
No one does.
I know. So true.
And that's the most valuable page on your website, because that's someone going, I'm ready to work with you. That's the ultimate thing. And we're like, here's a form. Please fill this out. It's got 30 questions. You've got time for that.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about either the contact us form or really the application form if you're a service-based business.
Yeah, application will work with you. It's like, here's what's going to happen. This is why you want it. And you sell them on the idea of each step.
Right.
Like, here's what's going to happen next.
Right.
And then proposals, right? Who puts videos on proposals? PandaDoc told us that, you close 32% more proposals with video on it. 32%, like a 32% raise, boom. But we stop selling the second we get the lead, or we stop marketing the second we get the lead, and we're in sales mode. We're just like close, instead of going, here's what you have to do next, and here's what you have to do next. One of the groups I'm in, because I spend money on coaching and consulting. We were talking about this the other day, and it's like, oh, you have to tell them that you're not just going to you're doing a workshop, and not just an online workshop. It's a Zoom workshop that will be live with you, and then you can have the recording. You have to tell them exactly what's going to happen, because there's so much information coming at us.
Yeah.
And we have to keep selling, and that's what video allows us to do. But here's the magical part about it, is if you do it, the more they see your face and hear your voice, the more the mere exposure effect is triggered. And that's when you get the, oh, Ralph, I love you. And they feel like they know you. And so that the more time you get with someone, the more they're happier they're gonna be. Plus, there's inside the green zone, there's an area right after they sign the contract that we don't like to talk about, and it's called buyer's remorse. Every single person has buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity to go, we're so excited. Here's someone just like you who recently signed up. You know, reminder of here's the process. Here's the bios of the team members that you're going to work with. Now you start selling your team to these people, because the happier they are in those first 100 days, the more they're going to stay with you. If it's an ongoing service, the more they're going to refer to you. And so we need to be selling there too, because then you're better chance of getting a referral.
And those videos are, I mean, I'm sort of picturing in my mind, are in like an email sequence, post-purchase, post-application, post-anything. But you're also saying, put those videos out there as well, like on your YouTube channel.
Optimize your, optimize your online presence too. So like your digital front door. And people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in offices no one goes to, and then you look it up and it's like I Google someone's name and I'm like, are they still in business? Mm-hmm. Right? Or it's like a ton of, like they don't own that first page, but you can have all those videos showing up when someone searches your name.
Yeah.
Or your team members, right?
Right.
Make your team members famous. Yeah. And because they're gonna be much happier if they've worked with them and know that, hey, they're not an AI bot. Or maybe if they are an AI bot, you have a video of the AI bot going, hey, I'm AI Lauren. I'm going to help you. And I'm going to make your a very special experience.
So the core four, like if you just break it down, I guess I'm looking for like a system. Mm-hmm. And it's...
Yeah, so the system, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
You listen to your customers, you collect the video case stories. From the video, listening to your customers, you're going to find your hooks and your angles.
In your pain points to do videos on, or subject for like top of funnel that they're going to be searching for. Because I always sort of think about it this way. If we take a step back here, it's like, so whenever I think about the buying process, we think about the people who are in the market to buy, like the people that they're looking for a solution. But that's a finite number of individuals who are ready and are actively looking because they're dissatisfied with their current state.
Yeah.
And I see that as like the percentage is different depending on like what marketing book you read, but let's say there's 10% of your market, your total addressable market, that's happy with their solution. They're not moving. Like they're happy, they're not anywhere near the point where I want to change my service or I want to get a better product because they're happy with it. Then there's the other 10% on the other side that is dissatisfied and is actively looking. Whether it's 5%, 1%, I don't know what the percentage is. Let's just say it's 10%. I look at video as those people you should actively be targeting. However, the largest part of the market is that zone of indifference that's in the middle. Yeah. It's that 80%. They have a solution that they're kind of happy with. It's like, I have an iPhone 13, and I know there's like, what is it now? There's the 16 coming out. It's like, I'm kind of happy with it. You know, the battery kind of like dies at like 5 o'clock on, on an average day. But I can handle it. I've got an extra battery. I'm in that zone of indifference. I'm not quite ready to buy yet. So I look at video as a great way of getting those people that are in the zone of indifference to become buyers, and buyers for your solution.
Yeah.
And so how do you script out or at least map out a funnel for both of those areas? Because I think that's where people get a little bit confused.
But that's the problem is they're trying to do both at once.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the problem.
They're really two different buyers.
And most people, and the biggest part of the funnel is where you can get the numbers is people that really don't care, but we're trying to grab their attention, and so we're using like really super top of funnel stuff, like, you'll never believe what happened in this car accident. Right? I get a ton of people to watch that. I don't know if they're going to need a personal injury attorney.
Right.
But the zone of indifference is, like you're talking about, is once you have the green zone pretty dialed in, now you can look at that. But I wouldn't do that until you go over here. And now it's like,
Okay.
now let's think about converting those people, because there are a lot of people, we always think like competition is another company, but a lot of times our competition is lack of action. Right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's just not doing anything.
Inertia. It's the biggest problem.
Yeah, in tax resolution, like I would, it's a really competitive area. It's like procrastination is the biggest enemy. It's not another tax company, right? And so that's where now you start to talk to those people, and you start to put fear in. And that's, like in that one, it's like fear has been the one that's worked the best. It's like you'll never believe what happened to this person who didn't pay their taxes.
Right.
So yeah, now you start to talk to those people, but knowing that once they decide, they can quickly spend time with you and go, okay, do I like this person? How's this going to happen? Oh, answer my questions. All right, I'll call them up. Okay. But if you don't have this, a lot of times people make all this other video content and they're like, but it's just not working. I'm like, yeah, because they don't know you're open for business.
Right. You need that activation content. And so then that content, so if we sort of separate that out, that's what you sort of talk about with the core 4.
Yep.
Or is there some overlap?
No, the core 4 videos are like, it's optimizing the green zone and a little better. Now you move into those big idea videos, like, and those other things, like, oh, here's your other problem, or, ancillary problems, right? And it's like, oh, I got in a car accident a few months ago, but, it's not really going away, or my insurance company kind of sucks. Those are the people that are in the zone of indifference, or the product, like, what is it time for a new phone? Mm-hmm. Right? Answering those questions. But if someone you go, yeah, it's time for a new phone, and there's nothing happening on the other side here, they're like, okay, let me go over to Verizon and buy a new phone.
Right. Right.
So that's where you got to think about that. But if it's not optimized, if the conversion mechanism is not optimized, it doesn't matter how much traffic you throw at it, you're not going to have perpetual traffic.
So talk to me about perpetual traffic. There you go. I don't know. Is there a podcast called that? So what is the core 4? You mentioned it a couple of times.
Video case stories is number 1.
Okay.
Most important. I think if you just did those really well, you could win. Your About Us, second most used page on your website. Mm-hmm. But it still should be your positioning. It should have great hooks. It should incorporate the video case stories. Your process video. People want to know what's going to happen.
Right. Your proven process.
Proven process. It comes back to EOS, right?
Yep.
A lot of this, there's overlap with EOS, and it's because the fundamentals are the same. And then FAQs, right? Answer my questions. But yeah, cold, warm, and hot FAQs, the 3 types of FAQs. But then those are my core 4 videos. I have clients, and I call them that because I'm looking back, I have clients that we just did those videos for who've had years of success.
Yeah.
So I go, but if I have clients that just did a video case story and didn't do anything else, that did okay.
You're missing the activation piece.
Yeah.
Really. And when you say video case stories, you're talking about like what is your ICP's pain points, desires, talk to that specifically, and that goes back to research or really understanding exactly what's going on in their head.
Yeah. Yeah. And having a few of them, because they're gonna have different people with different problems, right? And they want to see someone like them. And you get the social proof too.
Got it. And now in proportion in those, like you have them all on your socials. Yep. I assume you're having them all on your YouTube channel, for example.
Your YouTube channel, yep.
And they watch them in not necessarily in one specific succession or in a sequence. It's going to vary based upon the individual and how ready they are, whether they are on the zone of indifference or whether they are and like they're really dissatisfied and they're in the market. What should be the portion of video, like how much, like if you had to break it up by a percentage, if I was just starting a company right now, I'm like, all right, I need a video strategy for my organization. What would you work on first, second, third, fourth, and how many in a percentage way would you have in each sort of portion of it?
I have 3 video case stories, collect those because you're gonna see the patterns.
Yep.
Then you get your process video done because when we added the process tab to websites, it overtook the About Us tab. In the heat maps. We did it in one specific vertical.
Right. Which is basically, this is how we work.
That's how we work.
So
I'm like immediately thinking of our why work with us, of adding another tab of like our processes. So so that we could put that in there.
But you know the worst place to have.
So logical, isn't it?
What's the worst place to have video case stories?
Why do you think I'm writing notes down?
On a drive that's never been uploaded to see.
Drive, upload, but on your website, you know the worst place to have the video case stories?
Case studies page?
On the case studies page. The testimonials page doesn't get clicked on ever. Because, especially if you call it testimonials, right? And that's why you weed the case stories. You weed the case stories into the pages. So then, yeah, the process, about us, because it does get clicked on, but also that's the thing you can optimize for your company name when they're looking at reviews, etc. And then your FAQs. The FAQs are easier to do, and but you won't have as much of a conversion mechanism.
So when you say about us, it's the application page. It's like that's where you collect their contact information.
The about us, on the about us page, but also
put your application on the about us page.
That's your call to action on the about us.
Your call to action on the about us is work with us.
Yep.
Or here's what it process, and yeah. So yeah, and then I try and connect those all together on YouTube too.
Right.
So it's like, hey, here's some questions. You want to know how to work with us? Here it is. Not just calls to action. Click here to sign up for an appointment. So you can.
I think most people think that it's like, just put video content out there and then have some kind of lead capture, and then magically that's how it all works.
And that's why it doesn't work.
Nobody opens emails.
No.
If you're getting a 20% email open rate, you're doing pretty damn good.
And it's an actual open rate, not the inflated one.
Right, like the actual open rate.
When they engage you,
yeah,
they will open the email, right? That first 2 days, because they're like, I'm ready to work.
Yeah, your open rates are like 90, 100%.
Yeah, that's where you start sending them those videos. Like, hey, I'm going to send you the biggest questions. I'm going to send you a little bit about our team. And I'm going to
Ryan does marketing talk about that really well in his presentation.
He did, actually. He had a great process.
His process for onboarding has like 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and each one has its own video.
But he has a small business, but he got this down, exactly what you're talking about. This is just the place that we were at yesterday, at small business agencies, local businesses, literally in the Birmingham area of England.
Yeah.
And that's it. But he had this process down.
No.
There you go.
And his retention rates were like nobody ever left him.
Yeah.
Like what Chris would say, 3%, max 3%.
It's less than that. So, but it's human psychology, really. It's that's the activation.
It's the sales process.
Yeah, it's so logical. It's almost stupidly logical, because that's how people buy.
That's how people buy.
Yeah, it's what am I going to get? Who are these people?
Have you helped someone like me with my specific problem?
Yeah, do you know what I'm all about? Do you get me?
I had a client the other day. We made this video 7 years ago. He got another intake from a woman who's a cosmetic dentist, and she said, "Oh, I watch all your videos on YouTube. I'm flying down to come work with you." 7 years later, the videos still work that way.
Crazy.
And because it's sales, but you still have to. And it's becoming more competitive. You still have to install it in your sales process. Yeah. You have to. People are like, "Well, how do I get more people to watch my videos?" I'm like, "You send them the videos, and when they're interested, and they'll watch the video."
Yeah.
So, but you have to do. I mean, once you get that stuff done, now you can do all the funky. Let me test out thumbnails and see which crazy thumbnail.
Get those basics down.
Get the basics
first and
down,
foremost. Out of all of those, though, it really seems to me that the area where you can double down or triple down or quadruple down and go from somebody who's in pain and looking for a solution to going into that zone of indifference is really loading up on the top of that, like the video case story, talking about, from an educational standpoint, you've been in enough, you've had enough interactions with your ideal customer, what their problems are, and then you do videos about that help them solve that problem. But at a certain point, some people are just going to take what they learn and actually implement it. That's fine. But it's once you have video case stories about successes that you've had, that next level, that next layer of content really seems to be the type of stuff that we're doing here.
Yep.
This is really just one big sales funnel. Sorry, Perpetual Traffic listener.
Yep.
Sorry, Perpetual Traffic listener. You're in a funnel yourself right now, because these are probably some of the pain points that you have as a business. How do I actually use video?
Yeah.
And there is a process behind it. And any successful business really does do it. If you only do one part, you're missing. It's always that activation part. Like so many people are good. I see this so much. I just want to go out there and be a subject matter expert and show how smart I am and how much I know. And then there's really no logical next step. Make sure you do go over to perpetualtraffic.com wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you leave us a rating or review. We really do appreciate that. It gets us to a larger audience to help marketers market and especially sell using video the right way. Hopefully you learned a few things here today. Thank you so much for coming on Perpetual Traffic and for us invading your studio for the last 4 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you can email me at videocasestory.com if you want to get a hold of me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Obviously, you can follow me on all the socials. But if you want to get the core for video chart, what they are, how to use them, and how to get started finding them, you can go to videocasestory.com/4PT. And you'll get access to our complete chart and a tool on how to start discovering them, how to find them, and how to use them.
All right, well, on behalf of my amazing co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo.
Ciao.
And thank you once again, Iron Garlic. Until next show, see ya.